In the last session, we have discussed about the different modes of passing the arguments to the methods, such as call by reference and out mode arguments. And finally, we just gave a brief introduction to the concept of inheritance. In today's session, let us understand the concept of inheritance in detail. Before we get into that, let us have a small recap. I have informed that inheritance is a concept which is used to reuse or to redefine an existing class definition. Whenever any member is defined using public, protected, internal, or protected internal at the base class, they can be accessed directly from the derived class. Now, let us continue. Whenever we talk about the concept of inheritance, then it is very much essential for us to understand a term called as method overriding. So what does method overriding means? In simple terms, it is used to redefine an existing class definitions. For example, let me copy the above scenario. Now, we have a class parents and a class children, which is inheriting the base class parents. So we have got the method property for the children class also. If you remember, the base class property method definition is to use the property for business. So whenever the children class inherits the property of the parent class, the property method of children class will also have the definition of use property for business. Now, let us assume that the children class wants to use the property of base class, but assume that the children class is not interested in doing business, and so the property method definition has to be changed at the derived class. And let us say that the children class wants to use the property for charity. Now, remember that whenever the definition of the base class is modified at the derived class, then it is said to be method overriding. Oh, sorry. In the heading, I have mentioned as method overriding, and I mistyped as method overloading. Let me correct that. Now, just remember this. Whenever the definition of the base class is modified at the derived class, then it is said to be method overriding. And in order to override the method definition at the derived class, we need to define the method using override keyword at the derived class. But one important point we need to remember here is that in order to modify the definition of the base class at the derived class, not only we need to use the override keyword at the derived class, we need to have the permission from the base class also. So if any method is defined using override keyword at the derived class, then it is mandatory that in the base class the method should be defined using virtual keyword. Now, let us understand some important points we need to remember. In order to modify the definitions of the base class at the derived class, then the method should be defined using override keyword at the derived class. If any method is defined using override keyword at the derived class, then the method should be prefixed using virtual at the base class. If any method is defined using virtual keyword at the base class, then it is not mandatory to redefine the method at the derived class. Now, let us observe with a very simple demo. So let me add a new class and let me provide the name as method overriding demo, and let me remove the unwanted using statements, and let me update the subname space. Now let us define a class parents. So let me type in class parents, and then let us define a method property. So let me type in public virtual void property, and let us write a print statement. So let me type in console.writeLine of use property for business. Now let us define one more class children. So let me type in class children inherits parents, and in the previous demo we have just left the demo class. as we wanted to reuse the definitions from the parents class. Now our requirement is to update the parent class definition from the derived class, right? So let me type in public. We need to use the override keyword void property, and remember that base dot property. So whenever we say base dot property, just remember that it will invoke the definition of the base class method from the derived class. Now let me update the code. So let me type in console.writeLine of use property for charity. Now let me add an entry point and let me create an instance for the derived class children. So let me type in children c equal to new children, and let us invoke the property method. So let me type in c dot property. Now let us set this class as the startup object and let us execute the code. We can observe the new definition. What we have provided at the derived class is displayed instead of the definition provided by the base class. So just remember that whenever we modify the definition of the base class at the derived class, then it is said to be method overriding. And in order to achieve that in the derived class method, we need to use the override keyword. And at the base class method, we need to use the virtual keyword. But the point we need to remember is, if we have used virtual keyword at the base class, it is not mandatory to override the method at the derived class. Next, whenever we say we need to redefine the method definition at the derived class, then we have two methods. The first one is method overriding, the one which we have just observed, and the other one is called as shadowing. Now let us understand what is shadowing. So in simple terms, to understand, it is used to maintain two definitions at the derived class such that one definition will be shadowed and the other definition will be exposed. That is, the definition provided by the derived class can be shadowed in order to project the definition of the base class, and vice versa is also applicable. To understand this concept, let me copy the parent and the child class. Let me paste that design. Now, just a small disclaimer. Whatever the non-technical method I use to explain for this concept is purely for understanding the concepts, and the reason I'm using the parent and children classes instead of class B inherits class A or class car inherits class vehicle, etc. It is very easy for everyone to relate with the parent and child relationship. Okay, but I'm not that old to judge the parent-child relationships. But according to me, I can categorize the parent-child relationships in three categories. First, whatever the parent says, it is the rule for the child. If the parent says sun rises in south, then the child will always say sun rises in south. Irrespective if 1 million people come and argue, still the child says sun rises in south because his parents said that. This is exactly the inheritance. Whatever the base class provides, exactly the derived class uses it. The second type of category is whatever the parent says, the child will perform the task exactly opposite to that. In that case, the child will always take the permission from the parents to do the task. If the parent says go to the college, then the child say I will go to the movie. But in order to go to the movie, the child will take the permission from the parents and then he will go to the movie, whatsoever it is. And this second category we can consider as method overriding, where we try to modify the definition of the base class at the derived class. But these days we have got the third type of category. Fortunately or unfortunately, I also belongs to the third category only. So what is this category people will do is, to the parents we will say I will go to the college. But once I'm out of the house, I will be going to the movie. In this case, I will be behaving in two ways. If everything is going on smooth, then I will be enjoying the movie and then I will be going to the home. If something goes wrong, if my parents or neighbors or relatives turns to the cinema hall, then I will immediately change my behavior to the one what I have informed to my parents. That is, I will be immediately moving out of the cinema hall and will be attending the college. So, as a child, I can behave in two ways. More or less, the concept of shadowing will also be similar to that of the third category of parent-child relationship. So, let us observe that we know that the definition for the property at the base class is use property for business, and at the derived class what is the definition we will be getting means use the property for business. And in this concept of shadowing, what we will be doing is we will be adding one more new definition property, and for that we will be providing our own definition. For example, use property for charity. Now, if you observe the derived class children, we will be having two methods. One is the method which we have inherited from the base class, and the other one is the one which we newly added at the derived class. And in order to inform that this method is a newly added at the derived class, we need to use new keyword. And whenever we use the new keyword, we don't have to use any special keywords at the base class. Now, using this shadow feature, we will be in a position to get the definition from the base class by shadowing the definition of derived class, and also we can project the definition from the derived class by shadowing the definition of the base class. Now, let us understand this concept using a simple demo. So, let me add a class and let me provide the name as shadowing demo. And let me remove the code and update the subname space now. Let me create the class parents. So, let me type in class parents and we need the method property. So, let me type in public void property. Let us add the print statement. So, let me type in console.writeLine of use property for business. Now, let us define the derived class. So, let me type in class children inherits parents. Now, let us add the new definition for the property. So, let me type in public new void property. Now, let me write the new definition. Let me type in console.writeLine of use property for charity. Now, let me add an entry point. Now, let me define an instance for the derived class. So, let me type in children C equal to new children. And in order to get the definition from the derived class, we can just invoke the method directly from the derived class. So, let me type in C.property. And in order to shadow the definition of the derived class and to project the definition of the base class, we need to first define the variable of the base class. So, let me type in parent P. And now let us assign the derived class instance to the base class variable. So, let me type in P equal to new children. Now, in order to project the definition, we can simply say P.property. Now, let me set this class as the startup object and let me execute the code. We can observe the definition what we have added newly at the derived class, and also we can observe the definition of the base class. Now, if you observe that if we haven't added the last 3 lines of code, then we don't find any difference between the result of the method overriding and the result of the shadowing, because both will be displaying use property for charity only, right? So, sometimes it so happens that some people might consider both these concepts are same. So, let me copy the last 3 lines of code and let me paste that code within the method overriding demo. And let us set that class as the startup object and let me execute. Now, if you observe, we have got the definition what we have provided at the derived class. Now, if you recollect, I have explained this concept in a simple non-technical manner, right? And if you remember that concept of method overriding, I have informed that it is type 2 category of parent-child relationship. That is, the child takes the permission from the parents and he behaves as he like, right? So if the parent says go to the college, if the child says I will go to the movie, and if the child has taken the permission from the parents, then if any of the child friend contacts him directly and asks him where is he, then he will be replying I'm going to the movie, right? And if any of your relative calls to your parents and inquire about your child, then the parents will also say that the child has gone to the movie, right? Whereas the shadowing concept I have referred as type 3 category of parent-child relationship. And in this case, the child will maintain two definitions and acts accordingly as per the requirement. Let us say the parent says go to the college and the child wants to go to a movie. If any friend of the child contacts him, then the child will be saying I'm going to the movie. And if any relatives calls to the parent and ask about the child, then the parents will be saying my child has gone to the college, right? Once again, I repeat, this non-technical explanation is just for understanding the concept of inheritance, method overriding and shadowing in a simple method, and also to understand the syntax and the way we need to use them. Now, let us understand the concept of inheritance, method overriding and shadowing with a real-time scenario-based example. So let me add a new class and let me provide the name as understanding inheritance demo. And let me define a class with the name institute and let me define some methods. So let me type in public void courses offered console.writeLine of courses offered C, C++, .NET and Java. And we know that every institute provides some discount. So let us have a method. So let me type in public void discount console.writeLine of default discount is ₹0. Now let us define a new class called as Shaker Technologies, which inherits the class institute. Now say that Shaker Technologies also offers the same courses mentioned by the institute base class, but Shaker Technologies provides some discount in special cases, but not for everyone. So we need to add a new definition for the discount method at the derived class. So let me type in public new void discount of console.writeLine of special discount ₹500. Now let us define one more class with the name Microsoft Learning Center, which is again an institute. So let me type in class Microsoft Learning Center inherits institute. As the name suggests, this institute will offer only Microsoft related courses, but the base class definition of courses offered is providing other than Microsoft related courses also. So we have a requirement to modify the definition of the base class at the derived class. So let me type in public void courses offered and let us display the courses offered by Microsoft Learning Center. So let me type in console.writeLine of courses offered .NET, ASP.NET MVC, SharePoint 2013. Since we have inherited from the institute class, we will also be inheriting the courses offered method, right? But we don't want to use the definition. So in order to override that definition, we need to use the override keyword at the derived class. And since we have used a override keyword at the derived class, we need to use virtual keyword at the base class. We know that if we use virtual keyword at the base class, we don't have to provide a new definition at the derived class. Since Shaker Technologies is offering the same courses mentioned by the institute class, we are directly using that definition. And since Microsoft Learning Center requirement is to provide different courses, we have used method overriding to provide the new definition. And since the discount is not going to be for everyone, we have used shadowing concept to provide the new definition at the Shaker Technologies. Now let me add an entry point and let us first create an instance for the Shaker Technologies class. So let me type in Shaker Technologies, st equal to new Shaker Technologies, and let us display the courses offered. So let me type in st.courses offered. Now let us try to display what is the discount amount we get from the base class institute and what is the special discount provided by Shaker Technologies. So let me type in institute equal to new Shaker Technologies institute.discount. This will return the definition from the base class, and then in order to get the new definition of discount provided by the derived class, we need to use st.discount. Now let me add a separator for the beautification. Now let us create an instance for the Microsoft Learning Center. So let me type in Microsoft Learning Center MLC equal to new Microsoft Learning Center MLC.courses offered MLC.discount. Now let us set this class as the startup object and let me execute the program. Now we can observe the result for the class Shaker Technologies instance. We are able to get the discount from the base class and also from the new definition provided at the derived class. And when we observe the Microsoft Learning Center, then we can observe the new definition provided for the courses offered is displayed, and the default discount from the base class is also displayed. And finally, while working with the concept of inheritance, we need to understand one final point, that is the behavior of constructors with respect to inheritance. So let us observe that practically. So let me add a new class and let me provide the name for the class as inheritance with constructors. This concept is also called as constructor call delegates. Now let me first update the subname space and let me create a base class. So let me type in class base class and let me define a 0 argument constructor. Let me write a print statement to specify base class 0 argument constructor invoked. Now let us define the derived class. So let me type in class derived class inherits base class, and let us add a 0 argument constructor for the derived class also. So let me type in public derived class and let us write a print statement to display the message derived class 0 argument constructor invoked. And let me add one more constructor at the derived class. So let me type in public derived class of string name. And let us add a print statement. So let me type in console.writeLine of derived class parameterized constructor invoked by name. Now let me add a class demo and let me add an entry point. Just remember that in both base class and derived class we have only constructors are defined. Now let us create objects for the derived class using both constructors. So let me type in derived class dc equal to new derived class console.writeLine and let me write some lines. Derived class dc1 equal to new derived class of Shaker. Now let us set this class as the startup object and let us execute the program. Now you can understand the point what I am going to explain. If you observe, we have just created the instance for the derived class, and you can observe that whenever we create an instance for the derived class, then always a base class 0 argument constructor is invoked. Just remember that if the base class consists of parameterized constructor also, still base class 0 argument constructor will be invoked by default. Let me update the code. Let me copy the derived class parameterized constructor. Let me paste within the base class, and let us update the derived class to base class. Now let us execute the code again. We can still observe for both the instances the base class 0 argument constructor is invoked. Now let us add one more constructor at the derived class. So let me type in public derived class of string fname comma string lname. Console.writeLine of derived class parameterized constructor invoked by fname comma lname. Now let us create an instance for the derived class using the third constructor. So let me type in derived class dc2 equal to new derived class of Shekhar comma Srinivasan. Let us execute the code. We can observe for this instance also the base class 0 argument constructor is invoked. If you say that my requirement is to invoke the base class parameterized constructor while creating the instance for the derived class using the third constructor, then we need to just update our constructor at the derived class by updating base of fname plus empty space plus lname. Now let us execute the code again. This time we can observe that for the derived class instance created using the third constructor, the base class parameterized constructor is invoked. Before we conclude today's session, let us observe one more important point. Say that if the base class doesn't have 0 argument constructor, then what will happen? Let us observe. For that, let me comment the 0 argument constructor at the base class and let us execute the program. We can observe that we got an error stating the base class constructor is not having 0 argument constructor. So whenever we are going to use inheritance, it is always advisable to define a 0 argument constructor at the base class with 0 lines of code at least. I hope you are clear with the concept of inheritance, method overriding, shadowing, and also how the constructors behave whenever we inherit the class. In the next session, let us understand two more important concepts in C#, that is interfaces and abstract classes. See you in the next session.